I'm going to turn it over now to the Vice President before we go on to the folks in the various cabinet positions as well as agencies that control these issues. Madam Vice President, I know you're directly affected, so you fire away. No pun intended.
Indeed. Thank you, Mr. President, and also for the work that everyone around this table has been doing with the appropriate sense of urgency, because this is an urgent matter.
They got a notification yesterday their home was probably burned to the ground. Today it appears that it may be still standing, we're not sure. But the good news is I'm a great-grandfather as of today. I was granddaughter, 10-pound, 4-ounce baby girl, a baby boy. So I can remember this day for a lot of wrong reasons. Anyway, the devastation out there is catastrophic in California. Thousands of houses, schools, businesses burned to the ground. Communities wiped out, lives lost, families forever changed. They're the worst fires to ever hit Los Angeles, ever. And as soon as these fires broke out, I approved the Fire Management Assistance Grants. That's a term of art and how we get help for local officials. These grants cover California's firefighting costs for things like firefighting equipment, firefighters' salaries, and special capabilities like aircraft. Next, yesterday I immediately approved Governor Newsom's request for what they call, and I know this is all sounds like government talk, but it's called the Major Disaster Declaration. This declaration allows folks, at the request of the governor, the declaration allows folks who have been impacted to get immediate cash assistance. We are with you. We're not going anywhere. To the firefighters and first responders, you are heroes. Many of these firefighters are out there risking their lives, and some, well, I won't go beyond that, but risking their lives, and while their own homes are in danger, their families are in danger. To the firefighters and first responders, you really are, it's not hyperbole, you're heroes. You're genuinely heroes. And the worst, this is the most widespread, devastating fire in California's history. It's amazing. And you literally have to run into the flames, these firefighters. You know, that old expression, God made man, then he made a few firefighters. Who runs into flames? You know, in doing so, you're leaving your own families and who may be in harm's way as well. So we owe you. And we're going to make sure that you get every resource you need, every possible resource you need. You know, to the families who have been impacted by this disaster, you're living through a nightmare, I know. And I promise you, we're going to help you get through this and eventually recover and rebuild. I'm going to turn it over now to the Vice President before we go on to the folks in the various cabinet positions as well as agencies that control these issues. Madam Vice President, I know you're directly affected, so you fire away. No pun intended.
Indeed. Thank you, Mr. President, and also for the work that everyone around this table has been doing with the appropriate sense of urgency, because this is an urgent matter. What we have seen in California, and in particular in Southern California, is apocalyptic. In the midst, however, of all of the trauma that has occurred, we have seen extraordinary acts of heroism. I'm hearing countless stories of strangers helping strangers. People who are opening their homes where they are intact and have not had to evacuate, opening their homes to neighbors, to friends of neighbors, feeding them and providing shelter for them. And I do think that it speaks to the best of who we are as a country, which is in times of crisis, we find the heroes among us who we may not have known before, but act out of a sense of courage, but also a sense of community. And I applaud all those who are approaching this crisis with that spirit. And The bottom line is this: there are incredible heroes every day who are working right now in California on the front lines of this fire, and in particular, I want to thank the firefighters for all they are doing. They are, as the President said, putting themselves in harm's way, and they are doing the work that is about helping people who are perfect strangers to them, and doing it in some of the highest moments of need that anyone could face.
So every year we prepare for these Santa Ana winds. It's just that what is happening now is happening sooner. It's happening at a time now where we normally are at our lowest point in the fire year. And the fact that these fires are taking place now, it says that there are things that are going on in our climate that is creating truly year-round fire situations, and it's something that we all need to be mindful of, and this is a good indication of that. To give you an example, that if a fire starts from any ignition source during these Santa Ana winds, it has the potential for explosive growth and spread. And when that happens under these wind-driven conditions, it's very difficult to control. Now, in addition to this, when these winds are high, the aviation resources cannot fly. So it limits a lot of the potential area of support. As of this morning, there were over 4,000 firefighters that was assigned to these large fires. 600 or so were currently federal work, which means Forest Service and Department of Interior. And it doesn't include many who are assigned to their home units to provide initial attack. To give you an idea of the unsung heroes in these fire type conditions, in the last 24 hours, we've had 50 starts, and the initial attack success has been wonderful. So we've stopped a potential for 50 additional fires to be added to these 4 significant fires that we currently have. And that's what I mean by having initial attack crews stay put or pre-positioned across the state based on intelligence that we're gathering. And so I wanted to mention that because we talk about the active fire suppression, but there's so much that takes place behind the scenes that limits the amount of fires that our firefighters are having to respond to. It's typical that the causes of fires isn't known immediately because resources are really focused on response. However, all the fire causes are investigated, and I want to be upfront with that. Each one of these fires will be investigated to see what the cause and origins of them are. And what we know now is that it would be unusual for there to be lightning-caused fires in Southern California at this time of the year. Fire investigations are the responsibility of the jurisdiction of where the fire starts, and we're ready to assist with this if and when needed.